Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm beyond excited to finally go over my 6 steps for manifesting anything that you want. I was originally inspired by these steps from Brendon Burchard. I have these steps written on a piece of paper by my desk, and many of my coaching clients that are listening right now will tell you this is the first thing I talk to them about in our first appointment. So I've held this in my back pocket. I haven't shared this in any episodes, but I want to talk about it today because it's so important. Now, many of you have tried to manifest your dream life. You've done the vision boards, the meditations, the activations, the affirmations. You've gone to retreats, and still, your reality hasn't changed. That's not because you don't deserve it. It's not because the universe isn't listening. It's not because of karma. It's because you have not learned these 6 steps. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through these 6 powerful, actionable steps that will change the way you manifest forever. With these 6 steps, you can manifest anything. These are the exact steps I teach my private coaching clients, and when you apply them, you don't just attract what you want, you create it, you embody it, you live it. It is inevitable. If you're tired of hoping and finally ready to build, if you're done waiting for permission and ready to manifest with precision, then don't just watch this. Lean all the way in. I'm not asking you to wish harder, to visualize more intensely. This is about doing the work that works. Let's start with the truth no one wants to admit. Most people don't actually know what they want. And I don't mean in a vague, surface level type of way. I mean deep clarity, precision, unapologetic clarity about the life they want to live, the person they want to become, and the experiences they're ready to claim. And this is the first step. Seek clarity. People say things like, I just want to be happy, or I just want to be more fulfilled. They throw words into the air like freedom and purpose and peace, and then wonder why nothing is happening. But manifestation doesn't respond to fog, it responds to focus. You cannot create what you cannot clearly name. You can't hit a target you can't see. You can't build a house if you don't know the blueprint, and you cannot live your dream life if you haven't defined what the actual life looks like. Now, I'm not saying you need every detail figured out. Life will always leave room for magic, for mystery, for evolution, but clarity is the starting point of momentum. Without it, you will spin in circles. You'll work hard in the wrong direction. You'll confuse movement with progress. And I know this personally. Years ago, before I ever built this business, before I ever coached a single client, before I ever recorded any videos, I was doing everything I thought I was supposed to. I was staying busy, productive, saying yes to opportunities, listening to motivational content, reading everything I could, writing down goals, but nothing felt connected. I was always tired, always chasing something just outside of my reach. And then someone asked me a simple question, one that stopped me cold. They said, okay, but what do you actually want? And I realized I didn't know. I had lots of dreams and goals, and I had been chasing ideas, roles, identities, what I thought success should look like, what other people would approve of, but I had never actually sat down and asked myself, what do I really want? Not what I thought I could get, not what was practical, not what would impress people, but what do I want? That question changed my life. Then I started coaching others. I noticed the same pattern. Highly intelligent, deeply motivated people stuck, not because they lacked drive or talent or passion, but because they were trying to manifest with blurry vision. One of my early clients came to me and said she wanted more purpose. That was the phrase she used. I just want to live a life of purpose. And I asked her, what does that mean? She looked at me and said, I don't know. I just want to feel like I'm doing something meaningful. That's the trap. We aim for a feeling without defining the form. So we got specific. I asked her what lights her up, what she loves doing when she loses track of time, what she loved doing when she was a kid, what legacy she wants to leave, what her ideal day looks like. And through that process, the truth came out. She wanted to start a wellness brand. She wanted to leave her corporate job. She wanted to create courses and lead retreats and help women heal from burnout. She wanted to make a specific amount of money per month. And just like that, boom, the energy shifted. The vision crystallized. And now we had something to build a direction, a structure. And within weeks, she was in action. New contacts, new confidence, new courage. Because now she wasn't just dreaming. She was clear. This is why clarity matters, because until you define it, your dream will stay a shadow, and shadows don't manifest. I had another client that said, I want a successful business. And I asked her repeatedly until we clarified a successful business for her was $3 million a year, $250,000 a month. Once she had that clear goal, she was able to focus completely and manifest what she wanted. Clarity is not about knowing where you want to go. It's about creating a gravitational pull, something so aligned, so alive in your imagination that it starts to shape your choices, your habits, your energy. When you are clear, people respond to you differently. You walk into rooms with purpose. You wake up with a mission. You start saying no to the things that once distracted you. Clarity sharpens everything. And let me tell you something else. Clarity isn't just about writing down goals and calling it a day. It's not a one-time decision. It's a discipline. It's a muscle you build. You have to return to it again and again, especially when life gets noisy. When people try to tell you who you should be, when fear starts whispering in your ear, that's when you come back to your vision, your real vision, not the watered-down version, the one that scares you a little, the one that lights you up. If you're not clear right now, if you're listening to this and thinking, I honestly don't know exactly what I want, good. That means you're awake. That means you are ready. And the first step is to seek clarity. Because you can't shift energy until you choose a direction. You can't raise necessity, build influence, demonstrate courage if you don't know what it's all pointing toward. This is the first step. And it's the most essential. Don't skip it. Don't rush it. Sit with it, honor it, go deep. Because once you get clear, really clear, the universe responds. Your mind starts organizing around your vision. Your body starts aligning with your mission. Your life begins to shape itself around what you have decided is meant for you. And now that the vision is coming into focus, we need fuel, because clarity without energy is just a dream on paper. That brings us to our second step, generating energy. You've probably been told to raise your energy if you want to manifest something, but no one ever explains what that really means. This is the step where people get confused. When I go over this step, people come back to me saying, I don't quite understand this step, Brian. I'm talking about generating energy. People think it means doing jumping jacks and drinking smoothies. They think it's about working out or staying positive or meditating more. But in this framework, in this process, when I say generate energy, I'm not talking about your physical stamina. I'm not talking about caffeine or green juice. I'm talking about generating energy toward your goal. Because manifestation isn't passive. You don't sit back and hope the universe delivers, which many of you are doing. You direct your attention. You focus your desire. You create a current of energy that moves in the direction of what you want. If clarity is the blueprint, then energy is the electricity. Let me say that again. Energy is the electricity behind your intention. It is your ability to stay connected to your vision with curiosity, with fire, with action, and with belief over time. So many people come to me with a beautiful vision. It's clear. It's powerful. They know what they want, but they're not energizing it. They're letting that vision sit on a shelf. They're thinking about it once a week when they journal. They're putting more energy into worrying about what could go wrong than studying how it could go right. And that's the difference. Manifestation requires you to generate sustained energy toward your outcome. That means you're researching it. You're thinking about it. You're learning about it. You're staying emotionally invested in it. You're placing your attention upon it. You're feeding it with your focus, with imagination, with time. You are quite literally building an energetic field around your vision, and the more attention you pour into it, the stronger that field becomes. What you place your attention on grows. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, reality starts to shape itself around your focus. I'm reminded of one quick story. I once worked with a woman who wanted to transition into a new career. She had a clear vision. She wanted to become a wellness educator and a speaker, but she felt stuck. Months were going by and nothing was changing. When I asked how much she was spending thinking about or working on this goal, she hesitated. Not much, she admitted. I think about it sometimes. I know it's what I want, but life gets in the way. So I gave her one assignment. I told her to pour energy into it. Study people who are already doing it. Read about the industry, write about it, talk about it, immerse yourself in it every day, even if it was about 20 minutes. And within 2 months, she was in a certification program. She had launched her first workshop. She had new contacts. She even had her first paying client. What changed? She generated energy toward her vision. She stopped treating it like a someday thing and started breathing life into it. And once that energy started to build, momentum became inevitable. This is what most people don't understand. Energy doesn't show up. You have to create it and aim it. You have to fuel your dream like it already exists, like it's already being built, because the more you engage with it, the more real it becomes in your system and eventually in the world. So what does this look like practically? It looks like choosing your thoughts, not letting your attention drift into doubt or fear, but bringing it back to what you're building. It looks like consuming content that inspires you, not numbs you. It looks like learning more about what you want to do, even before you feel ready. It looks like speaking about your dream out loud with conviction, not hesitation. When you do this, your energy becomes magnetic. Your brain starts to reorganize around the goal. Your time starts to reprioritize itself, and the universe starts matching your level of focus. So ask yourself this right now: how much energy have I actually been generating toward my dream? How much of my attention is really invested in what I say I want? Not in a pressure-filled hustle kind of way, but in a purposeful, present, creative way. Because the people who manifest are the people who can sustain their attention and their emotional investment over time. They show up for their vision energetically before it ever shows up physically. They don't wait to feel motivated. They create momentum through focus. Visualizing your manifestation aids in generating energy. This is a part of that process. If you're never seeing it, you're never placing your attention upon it, it will not happen. You create momentum through focus. That's the challenge I'm giving you now. Don't just write your dream down. Charge it, feed it, pour energy into it, because once you start showing up with that kind of consistency, your reality has no choice but to respond. And now that you're clear on what you want and you've begun to generate real energy toward it, it's time for the next shift, the most important one of all. Because knowing what you want isn't enough. Feeling excited isn't enough. You have to reach the point where your vision stops being optional and starts becoming necessary. That's the third step. To raise the necessity. Even with clarity, even with focus, some people stall here. They hesitate, they dabble, they coast. Because wanting it isn't enough. Desire gets your attention, but necessity changes your life. And this is the third step. Raise the necessity. And in many ways, it's the most important one, because until your dream becomes necessary, until it becomes personal, urgent, non-negotiable, it stays in the realm of nice to have. When you're thinking about what you want to manifest, if there's a part of you that says, that would be nice to have someday, wouldn't that be great? Then you're not there. It must feel necessary. You must need this manifestation. Not saying that you're placing importance on it, but it must have a necessity to you. If you're staying in the realm of nice to have, manifestation doesn't respond to that. It responds to fire. It responds to pressure. It responds to people who stop asking for permission and start claiming their power. Necessity is when your dream stops being a preference and becomes a part of your identity. It's when your reason becomes so emotionally charged that not doing it is no longer an option. It is when your vision moves from maybe one day to this is who I am and this is what I'm doing, period. Let me tell you a story. One of my clients came to me with a very clear goal. She wanted to launch a coaching business. She had the training, she had the knowledge, she was passionate. But month after month, she made excuses. I'm still refining my brand, she would say, or I'm waiting for the right time. I'm not sure if people are ready for what I have to offer. And then one day she had a breakthrough. Her younger sister, someone she loved deeply, came to her, crying, burnt out, lost, searching for direction. She told my client, "You're the only one who really understands this. Why aren't you helping more people like me?" That hit her. Her work wasn't just a business idea anymore. It was her duty, her responsibility. She had something to give and people who needed it. That was the shift. Suddenly, the launch wasn't optional. It was urgent. She stayed up late, showed up fully, invested in herself because now the fire was real. Now it mattered. And that's what necessity does. It lights the fuse. You have to stop thinking about your dream as a luxury and start treating it like your assignment. I see this with people all the time that are wanting to manifest a specific person or a soulmate or a perfect love, and they're very comfortable in their lives. When I'm talking to them, they'll say, "Hey, it would be nice to be in that relationship." But they have not put themselves into the energy where it's necessary for them to be in a relationship. And so they are not motivated to take that extra step to go on that date. You have to stop thinking about your dream as a luxury and start treating it like your assignment. Ask yourself right now, who loses if I don't follow through? Whose life doesn't get better because I stayed small? What kind of pain will carry 10 years from now if I don't do this? Necessity is born from pain and from purpose. It comes from recognizing that this isn't just about you. It's about the people you're meant to impact. It's about the story you're going to tell. It's about proving to yourself that you're not going to sit on the sidelines of your own life. Now, this doesn't mean living in panic. This isn't about stress or guilt. It's about fuel. It's about anchoring your goals into something bigger than comfort. Because here's what happens when necessity rises. Your priorities sharpen, your excuses fall apart, your resilience grows. Suddenly, I don't feel like it gets replaced with I'm doing it anyway. I don't know how turns into I'll figure it out. Necessity creates resourcefulness. It calls forward your courage. It forces you to find the way, even when it's messy. You want to manifest something massive, something bold, something life-changing, because that's what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about manifesting something incredible, not some little thing like getting a free coffee. These 6 steps are about manifesting something incredible. Then it has to matter more than your mood. It has to matter more than the approval of others. It has to matter more than your fear. You have to connect it to something personal, emotional, urgent. And if that urgency isn't there yet, create it. Set a public deadline. Tell someone you trust. Put money down. Make the decision real. Make the stakes real. Because once you attach meaning to your vision, you activate something primal. You start moving with a different kind of energy, not from hype, but from alignment. This is when your goals stop being goals and become a standard. This is when your vision stops living in the clouds and starts living in your bones. So take a breath. Feel into it. Ask yourself, is this vision something I'm casually interested in or something that is necessary? Because Commitment changes everything. Once that commitment is in place, once your dream becomes necessary, then we move into the fourth step, which is increasing productivity. The step where things stop being abstract and start getting real. Because now it's time to produce, to make, to act, to create. It's time to stop circling the idea and start bringing it into form. This is the all-important fourth step, increasing productivity. And what it actually means when you're manifesting a life you've never lived before. So let's take a breath and step back for a second. You've already covered the first three steps of this process, not just ideas, but actions that move the needle on manifesting anything you want. Step one was clarity. You got specific. You defined the dream. You drew the blueprint, because without clarity, you can't move forward, you just drift. Step two was generating energy, not general hype, but directed energy, putting your focus, your emotional attention, your time, and your thoughts into the thing you actually want to manifest. Step three was raise the necessity. You made it personal, urgent, non-negotiable. You moved beyond wanting the dream to needing it, and that changes everything. And now we arrive at step four, increasing productivity. Now, before you jump to conclusions, no, this is not about grinding harder, waking up at 5 a.m., or stuffing your schedule with back-to-back tasks. That's not what this step is about. This step is about moving from vision to output, from clarity and intention into creation. Because at some point, you have to make something. You can have the clearest goal, the deepest emotional fire, and a laser-focused mind. But if you're not taking action, if you're not producing, you're not manifesting, you're just daydreaming. One of the key parts of the law of attraction is the word action, which is a part of attraction. Manifestation is not passive. It is not just alignment. You don't sit on your couch waiting for things to happen. It is execution. And that execution will look different for every dream. If your goal is to write a book, you eventually need to open up the laptop and start typing. If your goal is to build a business, you need to make an offer. You need to build something people can interact with. If your goal is to meet someone and fall in love, then yes, that means going on an actual date, making time, putting yourself in environments where connection can happen. It doesn't matter how spiritual, how intentional, or how excited you are. At some point, you have to move the vision into reality. Now, I'm a big believer in what Abraham says. When you're feeling into it and it feels right and you're in that vibration, it really doesn't feel like work or action that you're taking. It is natural. These are the steps you're taking on that bridge of instance towards your manifestation. But this means productivity, not just busyness, not just tasks for the sake of it, but the right action, the aligned actions. One of the biggest blocks I see people fall into is perfectionism. I have somebody very close to me that's fallen into this. They wait, they overthink, they obsess over getting everything just right before they launch, before they share, before they begin. I did this. I waited 5 years to start my YouTube channel because I wanted to make it perfect, when I had no clue that the only way I could ever make it better or make it perfect was to actually put out videos. Here's the truth. You don't need to be ready. You need to be in motion. Action creates clarity. Movement builds momentum. And productivity is your proof to the universe that you're serious. I'm reminded of another story. One of my clients, an aspiring musician, came to me with years of talent and no tracks recorded. Why? Because he was always working on the sound, always getting ready, always almost there, tweaking things. We had one breakthrough conversation. I said, what would it mean if you actually published one song, just one this month? He looked terrified. But he did it. It wasn't perfect. It didn't go viral, but it was done. And from that moment on, something in him changed. He became a producer, not just a dreamer. And 3 months later, he had an EP, a website, a following, a brand, because he shifted into productivity. into output. So what about you? What is the thing you need to start producing? What's the first creation, decision, or deliverable that proves your dream is coming to life? This might look like creating a prototype, pitching your idea, recording your first video, registering the business name, booking the event space, sending the email, making the call, writing the outline. No matter how small it seems, it matters because productivity builds evidence. It tells your brain, we're doing this. It tells your spirit, this is real. And it tells the universe, I'm ready to co-create this now. This step is where your manifestation becomes physical. It's where your energy gets translated into matter. It's the moment where people around you start noticing something's different. They can see the change. And guess what? You're not always going to feel motivated. You won't always feel ready. But productivity isn't about emotion, it's about commitment. It's about doing the work anyway. Stephen Barnes, an amazing author and life coach, told me something that really changed my life when it came to me wanting to write my book. I'd always dreamed about writing a book. It was my dream, my goal, but I had never done it. And he said, you need to write at least a sentence every day. Just do it. Next thing you know, I'm writing a sentence, then I'm writing a paragraph, then I'm writing a chapter, and I'm finishing the book. Because small steps compound, they build confidence, and confidence builds capacity. So here's the challenge. What is one thing you can produce this week that brings your dream closer? Not research, not prep, produce. It might be messy, it might be uncomfortable, but that's how dreams are built, not in theory, but in creation. And once you start creating, you will realize something powerful. You can't do this alone. The bigger the dream, the more people it will require, which brings us to the next essential step. Step 5, develop influence. Let's talk about how to attract the people, the relationships, and the support systems that will help you bring your vision to life. Once again, so far, we have step 1, seeking clarity. Step 2, generating energy. Step 3, raising the necessity. Step 4, increasing productivity. And now you're starting to feel something shift. You're in motion. You're becoming the version of yourself who creates, who produces, who executes. But here's what most people don't realize about big dreams. And remember, I'm talking about the big dreams. You cannot and should not do this alone. Which brings us to step 5, develop influence. And no, I don't mean becoming famous or being an influencer in the social media sense. I mean something much deeper. I'm talking about building the network, the relationships, reputation, and presence that will help you manifest your dreams faster and stronger than you ever could on your own. Maybe it's finding that mentor. Maybe it is connecting to somebody who can make your dreams real. Because no matter how brilliant, how talented, how committed you are, at some point you're going to need other people. You're going to need mentors, collaborators, supporters, champions, gatekeepers, people who open doors, hold space, challenge you, refine you, and believe in you when you hit the wall. And you'll also need to become someone they want to support. Let me say that again because this part matters. You must become someone who others believe in, respect, and trust. That's what real influence is. It's not manipulation. It's not pretending. It's alignment. It's presence. It's integrity in motion. I had a client who wanted to launch a global nonprofit. She had the vision, the passion, the experience, but no traction, no funding, no visibility. She refused to actually talk to anybody about it. She thought she had a strategy problem, but she had an influence problem. So we shifted focus. We worked on how she told her story. We worked on how she showed up in rooms, on calls, online, who to contact. We worked on building real relationships, not just asking for help, but offering value, listening, learning, being present, connecting to people that could help her to accomplish her goal. And within 6 months, she had a major partnership. Why? Because she stopped operating in isolation and started connecting with power from a place of service, clarity, and belief. That's the energy of influence. And here's the truth. If your vision is big, if it requires funding or reach or community or scale, then it also requires people. Your job isn't just to create, it's to connect, to magnetize the right people by being the kind of person they want to move with. So how do you develop influence? You start by being visible. Share what you're working on. Speak about your vision. Even if it's not perfect, let people into your journey. Contact those people that can help you. Then be of value. Look for ways to help others. Make introductions. Offer your skills. Serve with no strings attached. People remember who helped them rise. You also have to build credibility. That means doing what you say you'll do. Showing up on time. Being a finisher, not just a starter. Being someone who can be counted on every time. And maybe most importantly, listen. The most influential people are not the loudest. They're the most emotionally intelligent. They listen deeply. They see people. They connect with authenticity. This kind of influence doesn't just help you manifest your dream, it multiplies it. Because suddenly you're not alone. You're in a web of relationships that support you, challenge you, and accelerate your growth. You have people opening doors you've never knew existed. And guess what? Your dream isn't just yours anymore. It becomes a part of something bigger. But I need to warn you, when you start stepping into this kind of influence, into this kind of visibility, something else shows up: fear. Not the kind that stops you from starting, but the kind that shows up right when you're about to level up. The moment before the speech, the moment before the launch, the moment before you step into a room that feels bigger than you. This is where most people freeze. Even with clarity, even with momentum, even with support, because the next move requires courage. And that brings us to the final, an absolutely essential step in this process. Step 6, demonstrate courage. You've come this far, you've done the work, you've gotten clear on what you want, you generated energy, you raised the stakes, you made it a necessity, you started producing, and you've built influence. But now comes the moment that separates the people who think about changing their life from the ones who actually do it. This is the 6th and final step, demonstrate courage. And courage isn't just about doing scary things. It's not about putting yourself out there in a controlled way. It's about a leap. It's the moment where you step off the cliff with no net and no guarantee of the outcome. It's when you make the decision, spend the money, sign the contract, walk away from the job, book the one-way ticket, tell the truth, or commit out loud to something that terrifies you. Because you know it's the next right move. It's not tidy, it's not strategic, it's sacred. Courage is the crossing point where the old version of you can't come along and the new version of you hasn't yet arrived. When you reach this step, you're going to know when it happens, and you're going to say, that's what Brian was talking about. That's when you know you're about to manifest what you want, because you're going to demonstrate courage. It's the in-between, the void, the stretch of sky between comfort and calling. I had a client who had a vision for 5 years, move overseas, start his own consultancy, and finally leave his soul-sucking corporate job that was draining him year after year. He had clarity, he had the energy, he even had savings, a network, and a soft plan. But every time we got to the moment of action, he'd freeze. Not because he wasn't ready, but because he couldn't guarantee what would happen if he let go. Till one day something changed. He'd just come out of a meeting where, once again, he buried his voice. He said yes when he meant no. And when I was talking to him, he looked at me with the clearest eyes and said, "I'd rather risk failing at my dream than keep succeeding at a life I don't want." That same week, he put in his notice, booked his relocation, and committed publicly, financially, spiritually, to a new life. He didn't know how it would turn out. He had no guarantee of success, but he knew that staying where he was meant betraying himself. That's courage, not because it's fearless, but because it moves anyway. It's when you decide, this is who I am now, and you take the step that proves it, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if every part of your ego screams for safety. And yes, you will be tested. There will be a moment where everything in you wants to delay just a little longer, where it feels too uncomfortable to take that next step, to wait until it feels safer. until you have more proof, more signs, more certainty. But that's not how courage works. Courage is the bridge between you and the life you say you want, and nobody else can walk it for you. What does this look like for you? Maybe it's finally quitting the job or booking the event or asking for the sale or investing in the mentor or moving to that city or ending that relationship that's keeping you small. It's that thing you already know you need to do, but have been waiting to feel ready for. This is the moment. You want to manifest something you've never had? Then you have to do something you've never done. Because at some point, the universe stops asking you what you want and starts watching what you're willing to do. This is when the shift happens. This is the ultimate declaration of faith. This is the truest form of prayer. And when you demonstrate courage, not just talk about it, but actually act on it, doors open that logic could never have found. Synchronicities appear. Support shows up. Paths are rearranged, but only after the leap. So I'll leave you with this. If your dream isn't requiring courage, it's probably not big enough yet. Be brave, move anyway, and meet the life that's been waiting for you on the other side. Let's take a moment. We've walked through the 6 steps. Not ideas, not theories, but actions that you can take that have changed lives, that will change yours. Let's name them now again, fully and clearly, because now you're ready to hold them. Clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, and courage. These are not things to study. These are things to live. This is the framework. This is the map. You no longer have to guess. You don't have to drift, dabble, or doubt. You have the truth. You have the path. The rest is choice. Because now it's up to you to decide which step you're stepping into next. Maybe you're still seeking clarity. Maybe you're still being called to produce. Or maybe deep down, you know it's time to demonstrate courage. Wherever you are, you're not alone. This process is for you, whether you're just beginning or you're ready to break through. So here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment below. Tell me, which step are you in right now? Let's talk about it. Let's name it. Let's own it, because something powerful happens when you say it out loud. And if you're ready to go deeper, to apply this work in real time with structure, support, and coaching, then I invite you to join me. If you want coaching, you can send me an email with the word coaching in the subject line at chiefexecutiveprime@gmail.com. You don't have to build your dream alone. You don't have to figure this out in isolation. This is your time. This is your moment and your future. It's not someday. It's not maybe. It's waiting. And now, finally, so are you. So let's go get it. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.